Hello once again, Dayton, to the Retirement Blueprint Show with Tim Lofton. I'm your host, Spike Spengel. Thank you so much for joining us today. Tim, how are you doing this week?
I am doing well.
I can say you're looking sharp.
Well, thank you.
I like that. Nice
Thank
outfit.
you.
Right?
And I like the fact that you have on an Ohio State Buckeyes tie.
Of course. You do have to pander to the audience sometimes.
Absolutely. Go Bucks.
I am not below that here in Ohio. No. So we've got so much to talk about when it comes to retirement planning today. A few different things we're going to be covering on the show today. What do we need to consider when it comes to taxes? What is the difference between accumulating assets and decumulating assets in retirement, and much, much more, all in today's program. So Tim, I would like to start with that. We need to really start thinking about taxes today. I feel like it's a drum that we're hearing beat all across the country, radio shows, television shows. But what do people actively do? What do we need to be doing about our taxes right now?
Well, really just planning for it, right? I mean, we understand that we are in the lowest tax environment that we've been in almost in history. And so although it doesn't feel that way sometimes, we really have been very lucky the last decade with taxes, and that's going away. If the government does nothing, it's going to sunset. And more importantly, we have a $30 trillion deficit.
And counting.
And counting. And they keep raising our limit, right? I can't get Amex to raise my limit, but the government does it for us all the time. And so when we're thinking about taxes as part of our plan, I think that a lot of times gets missed.
Right. So I'll ask specifically, that word Roth, is this something that people should be looking at right now? So let's say we're 62, 64, 65. Is it worth it in paying that upfront chunk of taxes right now to get growth 10, 20, 30 years down the road?
Well, the answer is, Spike, is maybe.
It
really just depends. There's a lot of calculations that go into that. There's a lot of tax strategies that can be very helpful with limiting the amount of taxes that we pay. There's things like life insurance, for example. Distributions of income from life insurance are tax-free. Distributions from Roth IRAs are tax-free. And so that's all well and good if you have the time to put the money away in those places to accumulate it. The problem is if you're already retired, that's a different strategy. And so a lot of times when we talk about things like Roth IRA conversions, for example, what we're talking about is paying more taxes today to pay less taxes over the long term. Because the one thing we know with IRAs is that the government is going to make us take that money out at some point. It starts at 72. That's the required minimum distribution, or RMD as it's often referred to, where we have to take the money out. They've got a whole schedule. You can go online to the retirement calculators, and
there's tons of them. There's hundreds of them. There's thousands of them. Nice thing about RMDs are the conversations lately about pushing them out a little further. I think this was something that happened more recently. We've gone from that April 1 following the year you turned 70 and a half,
right, to
now it's 72. There's conversations about pushing it all the way out to the age of 75 as well. Why do you think that is?
Well, the government giveth and the government taketh away, right? And so what happened with the CARES Act in 2019 is they changed that RMD age from 70 and a half to 72, which was good. What they took away was that stretch IRA option that we've been using for the last 30 years to help people pass on generational wealth using an IRA.
So let me ask you this, Tim. I know that you're a financial planner here in the Dayton area. You help folks implement the retirement blueprint. You're not just an author and creator of it. You're just not a pretty face here on the television program. You help people literally put these strategies in place. So can you tell me how retirement planning with you is maybe different than what I've just done or your viewers have done on their own?
Well, I think what we do is a lot different. I mean, the reason that I created the retirement blueprint in the first place was to give people something that really, my 30 years in the industry, I didn't see. Most of the firms that I worked with were all about growing your money, right? It was about, you give us your money, we'll grow your money over time, and then that was the plan. And so when you look at retirement as an actual event, it's way more complicated than that. You have things like taxes that we're talking about. So for example, just on the tax side, my $1 million IRA is not really a $1 million IRA. It's about $700,000. If I took it all out and paid taxes on it, that's about what I would end up with. And so that is part of the strategy, is figuring out the tax plan behind the investments that people have. Then we have to look at the investment plan. We have to look at the estate plan, which is a very important piece of the pie when you're talking about retirement planning. How am I going to pass on my nest egg and everything that I've worked my whole life for? How am I going to keep that out of the hands of the nursing home? What am I going to do on the income plan side, which is another part of the retirement blueprint, in the event that things change? If I lose a spouse and half my Social Security goes away, or I lose that pension, where am I going to pick up the extra dollars that I need to maintain my lifestyle? And then, of course, we have the healthcare considerations. Things like, what Medicare plan is going to be best for me? How am I going to navigate a stay in the nursing home? And so all of those are the components that we said, hey, all of these things for retirees, this is why they're worried about running out of money. Right? I mean, every poll that's been done for the last 100 years, retirees have one concern and one concern only, that's running out of money. I've just talked about all the things that are fighting against them. The government's trying to take away their money in taxes. The nursing home's trying to take away all of their assets. You have inflation taking a bite out of every year of every dollar they spend, making it worth less and less and less. How can I not be worried about running out of income unless I have a plan? Right?
Tim, we're going to be going out to break here, but how in the world is it that you're able to offer the retirement blueprint as a complimentary service right now to those of Dayton?
Well, listen, we put this show together, we put the retirement blueprint together to help retirees in Dayton, Ohio. That's why we built it. We wanted to have something that retirees could have access to, and a plan that they knew, if they had this plan, would help them navigate to and through retirement. And that's just the starting point, Spike.
Yeah. So folks, if you would like to get your own starting point, give us a call right here at 855-684-3485. Call and ask for your own complimentary retirement blueprint with Tim Lofton. The firm is going to call you back, set up an appointment so you can get your process started. It is complimentary. There is no obligation, but you need to reach out to us here. 855-684-3485. I'm going to ask Tim about what is the difference between accumulation and decumulation when we get back right after this.
Hi, I'm Tim Lofton, and for 27 years, we've been helping people just like you navigate to and through retirement with our trademark process, the Retirement Blueprint. Many of our clients are extremely concerned today with the increasing federal debt and the potential for a significant increase in taxes. If you share these or other retirement concerns, give us a call today for a no-obligation complimentary consultation. Let us plan your tomorrow today.
When was the last time you saw your financial professional? Are you getting the most out of the strategy that was created for you? Although you've done a great job finding someone to help plan for your future, are you 100% sure that you were given the right strategy? We can help answer these questions and more with a complimentary second opinion evaluation. We will take a look at what you have in place and then help determine if you're well positioned to get the most out of your future retirement income. In the event that it is not, we can help by making suggestions and showing you how to get on the right path. You wouldn't get just one opinion when it comes to a major health decision, so why would you treat your most important financial decision with such disregard? Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation second opinion evaluation to see if you're getting the most out of your retirement income plan.
Welcome back to the Retirement Blueprint Show with Tim Lofton. I'm your host, Spike Spengel. We're talking about your retirement planning needs and strategies right here in Dayton, Ohio. And I wanted to ask you a little bit more about this accumulation, decumulation. I'm still in, I guess, what we would know as the accumulation phase. Grab as much as I can. It's kind of like Monopoly right now. I'm trying to buy up and hold on to as much as I possibly can. But eventually you start to need to use those. And I think it's got to be a very difficult part in the process for somebody going like myself, working 30 or 40 years, to saying, all right, I guess I'm ready to stop receiving my income. How much can I start taking out from my accounts? How do you help people move to that decumulation phase?
Well, Spike, the first step is the psychology of it.
Yeah.
Because you just described exactly what every retiree feels in that first year. I've been saving and scraping and taking every extra penny I can to put away on a monthly basis so that someday, right, that magic someday, that I would get to retirement and have what I needed, right? I mean, that's the overarching plan. And so when you go from trading that last paycheck to your first dividend check, it is a huge psychology, just mind blaster, because you have this feeling of being afraid because I'm no longer going to be working. So the idea of getting that paycheck is not going to be happening. And then I'm no longer saving, which just feels bad because I've been doing that every month for the last 40 years. And worse, now you're telling me I'm going to take money out? Oh my gosh, like it is such a major head game to get people comfortable with that, which is why we're starting to see more and more people work longer and longer. Even though, we tell people, yes, you could retire, they're not ready. They just can't fathom the idea of having to pull money out.
And what kind of tools do you use that you can be comfortable enough to tell somebody you are ready to retire? I can't imagine it's just adding up the assets, doing some simple division on how many years you think they might live, and crossing our fingers. What are some of the tools that you have?
Well, the first thing is understanding what they need in income. And so, once we're able to understand, what that deficit is between Social Security and pension and what they need to pull out of their investments to actually make it on a monthly basis. And I shouldn't even say make it, because this is an argument I have with every new person that comes in. I'm not asking you what you can survive on, right? I'm asking you, what do you need to be able to live your retirement the way you want to? If you can't do it, we'll tell you, right? But that's the starting point. So that first tool is figuring out the income need. Once we figure out the income need, then the second key is giving the amount of money we need to create that income. That's its job, right? We talk about that all the time on the show, giving money jobs. The income job can't have risk. It just can't. We cannot have the opportunity to lose that money when it has to give us lifetime income.
So when you're looking at, the volatility of something like this year, for someone who would be your client, that money that's going to take us now through the rest of this year, even though the markets have dropped 20%, inflation is incredibly high, that money for you, for your clients, has already been set aside.
Correct, and it is safe. And so the market goes off 20%, their account goes down 0. That's the way it has to be for the job of creating income.
Right. All right. So, you know what? Let me go off track here. I see the phone number down there on the bottom of our screen. Let's say your viewers call in. They would like to participate in the Retirement Blueprint, or at least find out more about you and your group and what you do right here. Tell me exactly what it's like from phone call to coming in for that first appointment. Can you put folks at ease? Because there's some people, while they can see your smiling face right now, they don't know you yet.
Right.
Is this a comfortable process, or can it be intimidating for some folks?
It's absolutely intimidating, Spike. I mean, without a doubt. And here's the thing, and I try so hard to explain this to people. You don't need to be intimidated. The reason you don't need to be intimidated is you don't have to come in with the answers. That's our job. So when you're looking at what you need to do, you call the number, you're going to get an email from one of the staff in our office. It's going to have a list of things for you to bring, and it's going to have directions to our office. And it's that easy. You show up with your stuff. Usually people come in with their 3-ring binder, right?
Yeah.
They come in with their 3-ring binder, they sit at the table, and they look at us sometimes a little bit like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah.
But you know, that's it. That's all you have to do. Just show up. Show up, let us buy you a cup of coffee, let's get to know each other and see if we're a fit. And that's really the first step, because people come into our office with basically a box of puzzle pieces. That's how they come in. They've got that 3-ring binder, it's basically a box of puzzle pieces. We're going to ask them the same questions that we've been asking retirees in Dayton for 30 years. We're going to go through our question and answer process. They're going to give us their box of puzzle pieces, and we're going to be able to put those puzzle pieces together to make the picture that they described to us. We're going to be able to show them, okay, with the puzzle pieces you have, here's what we would do, here's what it would cost, here's what it'll do for you, here's why you should do it, here's the upside and the downside, and give them the ability to make an informed decision based on the picture that we created for them.
At the end of a 60 or a 90-minute meeting like that, do you more often see more confusion and anxiety, or is there a sense of relief of seeing what a real financial plan looks like?
Well, we don't get the plan done that day, right?
Right. But just kind of an idea of where it's shaping to.
But there is, you know, maybe it's the confession thing. It's like once you get it off your chest.
Yeah.
So I think that there's definitely a sense of relief. We have people tell us all the time, you know what, I'm just glad we came in and talked to somebody. Like, this has been on our mind, or my spouse has been nagging me about it, and you know, she's worried or he's worried that I do all the investments and that I'm gonna mess something up. And so there's a sense of comfort of sitting down and saying, here's our stuff, are we gonna be okay? The second appointment is where the relief comes in, because the second appointment is where they get the answers. They get the answers to the questions that they've been asking in their head and to each other for the last 10 years.
Right. Folks, you're only one phone call away from getting that relief started in your own retirement plan. Call Tim and ask for the retirement blueprint. It is a complimentary process. As Tim said, the first meeting, you're just going to get to know each other. Bring in your statements, bring in what you need, and just have a conversation about what are your goals in retirement? What are your dreams? What would you like that lifestyle to be like? It is complimentary to get that started. All you've got to do is call the phone number you see right here, 855-684-3485. That's 855-684-3485. More with the Retirement Blueprint and Tim Lofton when we get back right after this very brief break.
Unexpected events, like a global pandemic, can turn our world upside down overnight. They can cause volatile shifts that may cause you to question the confidence in your current retirement plan. As a retiree or a pre-retiree, knowing you have a plan that can withstand the worst economic conditions is vital. Contact us today for a complimentary review. Get a second opinion and learn more about our trademark process, the Retirement Blueprint. Let us plan your tomorrow today.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Thank you so much for coming back to the Retirement Blueprint with Tim Lofton Dayton. We're so glad to see you again. I'm your host, Spike Spengel. We're talking about your retirement planning needs, and it's completely different in different parts of the country, but right here in Ohio, there are some very specific needs. But I want to ask you even a little bit further about this retirement blueprint. How much of the plan is done actually by yourself, or is it outsourced, or are there just models that you use for people? Can you tell me a little bit about how you make the pizza? How do you make the sausage? I want to see how it's done and behind it in the kitchen.
Oh, that's proprietary, Spike. I can't be sharing all of our secrets.
18 herbs and spices, right?
Yes,
I won't
exactly.
say the firm.
I'm not going to tell you which spices, but there's 18 of them. No, that's a great question. And so, we have assembled a team, okay? And so, I am a planning guy. That's what my background is for 30 years. I've never been a wealth management expert or I'm not a CPA. I didn't go to law school, but I'm very good at planning, and that's really what I enjoy doing. And so
And specifically for retirement.
And specifically for retirement. That's what we specialize in. And so, I'm very versed in the world of retirement planning. And so, my part of it is really, think of me kind of as the coach on the sidelines, right? And so I'm the first person they meet with, and my job is to understand where they're coming from, understand and assess their needs. And then from there, that's when we start pulling in other people from the team. And so a lot of times there's estate planning needs. And so, we're bringing in our estate planning attorney to meet with clients to help build and create their estate plan. A lot of times there's tax planning needs. We bring in our tax planner, who is a CPA, and allowing him to sit down with people and help them figure out the tax circumstances and how they can reduce taxes over time. We have a wealth management team that is, in my opinion, one of the best out there. I know everybody says that, but I actually believe it because of the numbers. And so our wealth management team is able to then take the risk that we have decided is appropriate and take that risk and craft a portfolio for people that is designed specifically for them. So to your question, is it a one-size-fits-all, or we're just sticking money in a sleeve? And
Right.
No, because it doesn't work that way, because everybody's got a different need.
Right. I mean, we have farms around the area. We have wonderful corporations. You've said before, we've got the military presence here. So everybody's situation is unique.
Of course.
And that's what I find to be very unique about your firm, is that you have all of these different elements. A lot of firms are either their investment or their CPA or their legal, and you have this all housed underneath one roof to help you put together the retirement blueprint, which you, it sounds like, are the general manager of.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay, one more element to this, because I know, let's not get into a battle of the sexes here.
Okay.
But, it's usually one side or the other. And it can be husband or wife who tends to take care more of the finances. How important, though, is it when we get to this step in our retirement process to have both of our spouses together in the planning and the strategy of it?
Well, Spike, we require it. So
I've never heard that before.
Not for meeting one, but for meeting two, it's all hands on deck.
Wow.
Here's a little, and I've never seen the statistics on this, but I just know the statistics for the last 30 years with clients, is if you were the person at home that is dealing with all the finances, you happen to also be the one that is the first person to pass away. So you may want to rethink being that. I'm
going to pass this off now. I don't like that statistic.
It's like, Tim told me I should no longer be doing this. I'm going to give this to you. But it does seem that way. And so what happens, Spike, is we end up with a spouse in our conference room, deer in the headlights. They have no idea how the plan works. They have no idea what their plan is. They've just lost their spouse. Social Security just went away for them, for that spouse, maybe their pension, and they have no idea how to do something.
Right.
And so we're not here to make both spouses experts, but we are here to get a buy-in that the amount of risk that we're taking is appropriate to both of them, that the plan works for both of them. And in today's world, with divorces and second marriages and you know, all the different elements, special needs kids, and all of these different elements of planning, you have to have everyone involved so that if something does happen, the other person can step into those shoes and have a general idea of how it's going to work.
Right. And to take it one more step further, I just read the statistic. I'm sorry I don't have the publication from it, but there's a 96% chance that at some point in a woman's lives, she's going to be 100% responsible for the family household and the finances.
Definitely.
Right? So that means, generally speaking, you and I pass away sooner.
Yes.
So one way or another, we will be in charge. As a woman, you're going to be in charge of those finances at some point. So let's at least be involved together. Or you may have been divorced or maybe not married as well. And that's another question. So let's say you have somebody out there right now who is 65 or 66. Either they haven't been married or they've already gone through a divorce. Is it just as important for them to have a financial plan? Because maybe they're thinking, well, it's just myself. It's probably not that complicated.
Well, it's even more important, Spike, because if they don't have a plan, if they don't have a will, they've basically decided that their elected officials are going to decide what happens to their money.
Oh, wow.
Because the state of Ohio has a plan for you. If you pass away and you don't have a will, the state of Ohio has a plan. Whether or not it aligns with your plan or not, that's the question. And so it is even more important when if you are single or a widower out there, that you take the time to make sure that things are going to go the way you want them to go.
Right. Tim, before we leave today's program, can you please tell people why the Retirement Blueprint is so important today and how you can actually give them access to it?
Sure. Listen, Dayton, if the things we've talked about today, if you don't have a plan for loss of spouse, an estate plan, if you've never even sat down with a planner, this is the time. You're in charge. It's your retirement. It's your money, your plan. You can decide today to take responsibility for that and to come meet with us and let us help. Take the time to do it. It's worth it to you, to your family, to your spouse.
Tim, thank you so much for going through this stuff today about our retirement planning. You know, something right there at the very end you were talking about, I think we're going to need to dedicate an entire show to it. We have got to talk about estate planning. Do you mind coming back to another program and doing that?
Let's do that next week.
You got it. You got it. Thank you
right.
so much for watching the Retirement Blueprint. Get your own complimentary Retirement Blueprint. 855-684-3485. Thank you for watching. Make sure that you come back again next week.